Alright, today we are starting a new project. Now, I know I've been kind of uploading the same videos over and over and over again. It's working on the same project for quite a while now, and I know it kind of gets a little repetitive. Now that we're kind of finally finished on that thing for a little bit, it's ready to test. We need to test it. I think it's time to start a new project. I want to make a simple, small go-kart or yard cart, whatever you want to call this thing. Just a simple go-kart, no suspension. I don't want to make this thing overly complicated. Using a big engine, small tires. We are going to be adding one of my 2-speed go-kart transmissions because I haven't built anything with one of those for quite a while. So I think this project would be perfect for one of those 2 speeds. Plus, it's not going to be that complicated to add one. We already have to have a jack shaft for the driver or driven pulley, so it's not gonna be that hard to add one. Now, I originally intended to use this engine for the CBR 1000 project, but once I came up with a plan on how to build that thing, I realized this engine is definitely not gonna be big enough, and I decided to use a bigger engine for that thing and save this for a different project. Now, I already took apart the Snowmobile that I got this engine from. I already filmed taking that thing apart, which, by the way, was a complete nightmare. Disassembling that Snowmobile, the entire frame was a rust bucket. That thing fought me the entire time disassembling that thing. So once I show the footage of disassembling the Snowmobile that I got this engine from, we'll come back and start figuring out how we're going to build this thing. Alright, I think this is a perfect size for this thing. Trying to keep it small and keep it simple. So I am having to put the engine behind the rear axle to make it a lot more compact. If we put it on this side of the axle, we'd have to move the seat up a good foot to make room for the engine and the muffler and all that stuff. So don't want to make this thing too long, so we're having to put the engine in the back. Okay, so before we install the engine on the frame, we first need to do the jack shaft that's gonna hold this. Because we first need to do the jack shaft, that will set where the engine needs to be to get the torque converter to work properly. Now it's gonna be really tricky trying to do the header and expansion chamber on this thing, because this is the giant expansion chamber that goes with this engine. This is the way it was originally on the Snowmobile, and it's definitely not going to work like this. It sticks out way too far. The seat's going to go right here, so we have to figure out something else, a different way to do this. So what I'm thinking of is trying to figure out a way to take this and bend it up 90 degrees so we can have it like this, and then cut this right here and bend it another 90 degrees so it comes out the back, and we can have the muffler back here somewhere. I do know that if I change the distance from this to this, it's going to change the tune of the engine and it's going to change the power band of this thing. So I'm going to try and figure out a way to get it to, to be like this without changing the distance and without having too sharp of 90-degree bends to hopefully make it not run like crap. So I did think about getting 3 expansion chambers. Because I do know if you get 3 expansion chambers, 1 for each cylinder, you can get a lot of horsepower from this engine. But I first want to do the stock headers and mufflers on this thing just to test to see, because I don't want this thing being too much of a death trap. I want it to still be drivable with this big engine on this tiny little lightweight go-kart frame. So we're going to do the stock header and expansion chamber first. And if we want a little bit more horsepower and a little bit faster and whatever, I'll try and do the separate expansion chambers on this thing, get a little bit more horsepower out of this engine. Now, the 2-speed transmission that we are going to use for this, we are going to have to build it, because now I'm not going to be using that one that I finished recently, the 2-speed automatic transmission. I'm not using that for this project, saving that for a different one, just because I don't think it's going to handle the horsepower of this engine, and not sure it's going to handle the RPM that this engine can get to. So we're saving that for a different project. The one we're using, we're gonna have to build it, because this actually is this fits on a 1-inch keyed axle, and I do have a 2-speed transmission that I built like a year ago that I haven't done anything with, but it's built to be on a 3/4 inch axle. So we're just gonna have to build another one. So, that's going to have to be for next video of this project. For now, I'm going to end this video here. Thank y'all for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Yeah, this thing's been dumping gas all the time, and I can't figure out how to get the gas tank on. So, that's great. Pretty sure it's bolted on from the bottom, but I can't get to the bottom because I can't flip this thing over because I'll spill gas everywhere. So that feels wonderful on my back. How in the ever-loving f*** are you supposed to get this thing off? My lord, that didn't want to come off! Whoops. Probably should have drained the coolant before doing all this, but I couldn't find a drain plug, so... Oh well. Does anybody know how to take these things off? Yeah, I'm gonna Google how to take snowmobile tracks off because I have no idea. My Lord. And they expect you to do this just to change the belt. Yeah, I don't think so. Okay, now how do I get that thing out of here? I don't care that this belt is in decent condition, I am chopping it up. I'm gonna get so many bad comments. That was a usable belt! Oh my Lord, that was not fun. I hate cheap stuff. Let's hope I never have to do that again.